Welcome back to Walsall Fan TV. Match preview time. Gillingham, Walsall. We thought it was going to be off, but now it's on. And we've got Matt. Hi, Matt. You right, mate?
How are you? Good.
It's in the blood.
Thanks for having me again. As always, a pleasure.
Hey, I'll tell you. Now, looking at the table, we expected you to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
What went wrong?
That's a good question. I don't know, if the season started ended in September, we'd be comfortably champions. And yeah, 6 wins out of the first 9 was a great start, and everyone was really encouraged with Mark Bonner. And all right, the performances weren't all brilliant, but we were finding a way to get over the line, and we looked like we was going to be scoring more goals. We beat Carlisle 4-1, Barrow 2-0, Tranmere 3-0 in that first 2 months of the season, and we picked up a good win at Notts County, and everything seemed lovely with the world. And then 6-game winless run in October, never really recovered. I think it's 5 wins in our last 25, 30 games, which is why we're now currently 20th, obviously 19th. Sorry, we sacked Mark at the start of January after the Bromley defeat at home, which I've labelled plenty of times probably the worst I've seen at Priestfield since we lost 7-2 against Oxford when we got relegated out of League One a few years ago. And it got to the point where Bonner's position was untenable, unfortunately, Simon. There was, it's always the manager, isn't it, that ends up being the one that moves, because you can't move on the whole squad in the middle of the season. But John Coleman's come in. I'm not sure he's improved us. We were 14th when John Coleman took over. We're 19th now. There's certainly signs in the last few that we've picked up a little bit. Good point at the weekend. Beaten Bradford and Morecambe, last 2 home games without conceding. Decent draw against Crewe as well. So certainly getting a bit more out the group. But
you certainly improved massively of late. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats in the last 6. Better form than Walsall at the minute.
Yeah, I think if you sort of break Coleman's reign so far into 2 halves, I think it was before Saturday, it was 3 wins, 3 points from the first 6 games, and then it's like 8 or 9 from the last 6. So it's certainly going in the right direction, but we're still averaging under a point a game with John Coleman. So I'm not one that's going to sit here and say he gets the job full time at the moment. I think it's a good opportunity for John and for us as a club to get to the end of the season and then reassess and go from there. We've got a lot of players out of contracts as well. But yeah, certainly in terms of recent weeks, the one thing I think, Simon, that a lot of Gills fans levelled at the playing group for a lot of the time was the effort really there. And you definitely can't fault that in the last half a dozen or so. It's been really good. Whether we're good enough to win enough football matches to get John Coleman the job full time remains to be seen. But in terms of the bare minimum, at least we're getting that now. And yeah, there's been certainly a shift in the right direction, but I'm not getting overly excited, and that's nothing against John or Jimmy Bell. That's just that I've watched this football club for far too long to not get overly excited too quickly.
Well, the 2 wins in the last 4, obviously beating Bradford was nice, but those 2 wins have sort of taken away any doubts of relegation, I think, haven't they?
Absolutely, and I think we was probably safe anyway, but that was more to do with the fact that unfortunately Carlisle and Morecambe have just been that bad this season. They're not going to put a run together now. I mean, if they look at the league, they've won 5, 6 games each. They're not going to win 5 or 6 games each in the remaining 10, 11 games. It's just not going to happen. So
Morecambe have actually won 8.
Oh, have they? I'm doing them a disservice. Sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, the back-to-back wins for Tranmere, that really has condemned them, I think, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think the bottom 2 stays as it is now. Tranmere, I can't see getting higher than probably 21st because the managerial change came too late. So yeah, we're safe, but it's not through anything that we've done particularly brilliantly. It's more to do with the sort of ineptitude of those below us, luckily. But it means we can sort of assess things now, maybe look at the squad a bit more, those players that have not had so many minutes, and start pointing towards next season and see who might be worthy of a new contract, who isn't. But yeah, it's been a disaster of a season. You can't dress it up any other way. We shouldn't be 19th in League 2 with the budget that we've got and the players that we have got as well. Yeah,
I think Walsall have sort of surprised everybody, but of late, as you say, the teams at the bottom have sort of saving Gillingham. The teams near the top have been saving Walsall of late. Bradford lost the last 2. Wimbledon lost 3 in the last 6. Doncaster keeps slipping up. County keeps slipping up. Have you seen the run of Colchester? Blimey neck.
Well, I got obviously I did my season preview back at the end of July, and a lot of fans said to me that I overcooked Colchester. I had Colchester to get in the playoffs, so I'm going to sit here and look a little bit smug about that. I'm not going to lie. I did have Gills to be 4th as well, just to counter that as well, to ruin all the good work I did with Colchester. But yeah, they've done a brilliant job, haven't they? You know what you get with Dan Cowley. You get a team that Danny Crowley. You get a team that works hard. They're probably going to be fairly direct, but they've got good players at the top end of the pitch, and I think they've signed well. And people like Jack Payne are good at the level, creating chances.
Yeah, Jack Payne. I always like Jack Payne, and Nero Edwards scored a beauty when they beat us.
Yeah, Lyle Taylor scoring goals as well. They're doing really well, and they continue that run, and they're going to be the ones to be fit. Well, you're probably not counting them out in terms of the top 3 just yet either, so they might not need the playoffs.
They're running. They're playing everybody at the top. So if they beat them, they'll definitely be top 3.
That's it. Yeah, it's only 5 points to 3rd, and if it's in their hands, they've got a great chance on that run, haven't they? They don't lose football matches at the end of the day. I think them and Port Vale have lost the least all season, haven't they? So
yeah, they could still get the title.
Well, yeah, they could, because that team at the top keeps. It seems no one wants to get promoted. That's how it feels at the moment. Like it's like, oh no, you do it. No, you do it. It's like everyone gets to the top, and then just like their arse falls out. It's ridiculous.
Well, we've obviously got you guys at the weekend. And then we're at home to Wimbledon, away to Doncaster, and then home to Vale in the space of a week. So those 3 games are going to decide whether Walsall going up, I think. But if we could go into it with a win, that would be very nice. What do you reckon our chances of doing you down at your place?
I think if you look at head-to-head meetings over the years, you've probably got the edge. You've certainly got the edge in terms of the comparative league positions. I mean, you're 27 points in front of us. So if you look at them sort of things and stats, it says that Walsall are massive favourites, regardless of your form at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't think we've beaten you in the last 7 at our place either as well. There's a lot of draws, isn't there?
I think it's a regular place for a draw, I think.
Yeah, they always tend to be sort of 0-0 or 1-1, so it's not one to get too excited about if you're a neutral, I don't think. To be honest, I don't think a draw would be too bad for either side. I think it would stop the rot a little bit for yourselves. It'd be a decent point again for us against the side up the top after beating Bradford in the last home game.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, it's just a case of, I suppose it's similar for you. If you can keep, just eking out points and ticking off games to stay in the top 3, then that's the be all and end all at the moment, isn't it? Because you don't want to drop into them playoffs with no momentum. And us, it's just a case of maintaining that gap to the dreaded trapdoor, which I think we do. But again, that's because of the fact that
I think you're fine with that. Walsall's those 3 games are going to sort of define Walsall. If we can go through those 3 games without defeat, then I think we'll be all right. I think
that's it. Yeah, if you can win 2 out of the next 4, you're going to be fine. But you don't want to be going into after that, and you've maybe only picked up 1 or 2 points. Then suddenly you're thinking, oh my God, it's playoffs, and that winless run extends. It's not a nice place to be. I mean, we went 13 without a win 3 months, and it's not fun.
Yeah, well, we've not won in 5. So
is that it?
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that we're still top of the league. Really, Bradford had a chance to go level and blew it. And
they could have gone top when they played us, couldn't they? Because you lost on the lunchtime, didn't you? That weekend, and then we beat Bradford. Yeah, so. And
as it happens, with our point at Bromley, we've actually gained a point on Bradford in the last 2 games. So. Bromley, by the way, you say there was poor performance against them. I thought Bromley were really good.
Oh, they're a good side. And I go back to my season preview, Simon. I said to me, they was one of the hardest teams to place, because generally teams that come up out of the National League don't go back down straight away.
Yeah, that's right.
But I just thought the differential was there was so much wiggle room in terms of where they could finish. I think if they started well, they could have gone and challenged the top 10. But if they'd started badly, there's a chance they'd have been right near the bottom. So I struggled to place them. I think I had them about 16th. So they're certainly punching well above their weight. And Andy Woodman's done a terrific job.
Yeah, and they've not got a lot of money around them, so it's even more impressive.
No, I think their recruitment's been
Harry
really good.
McCurdy's joined them. He
Did I
scored a
see that one?
beautiful.
Yep. Michael Cheek, the front man's finally got his chance at EFL level after banging them in the National League for what feels like forever. He's exactly what you want as a League Two side. He's big, he's strong, he knows where the back of the net is. Yeah, they've signed well. Ben Thompson, I think, who we had on loan a couple of years ago, they got off Stevenage. They got a couple of youngsters that we released. Yeah, I just think they're just a really well-oiled machine, aren't they? I think if you look through their side, you don't go quite. They've got like a star man that jumps off the page, but
they're just working together. It's a bit like the old crazy gang of Wimbledon, isn't it?
Yeah, proper side that all know their jobs, yeah, and with a good manager as well, then yeah, it's a recipe to do relatively well.
Just got a couple of comments from Luca saying hi to Matt. Gills safe. He's saying Walsall 2-1. I'd like that. Just see out the systems, and for you guys, just see out the season, same as MK. Disastrous season. You get back to your best next season. That's what he said.
Fingers crossed, it'd be nice.
So for this game, we thought it was going to get postponed because Walsall, to say 6 is we've pretty much got 6 players out with international call-ups. Tommy Simkin has been our keeper all season, apart from Thursday. He's on international duty. Our left wing back, Liam Gordon, he's in international duty. Connor Barrett's suspended. David Kagbu, who's been a mainstay of our back three, he's on international duty. Ethan Wheatley, who looked like he was starting to get near the first team, he's off on international duty. Got another guy, Lipswick, who's not really featured, so we can't really count him. But then Ellis Harrison, who's done well for us since he's come on loan from MK. He went off with a hamstring injury on Thursday, so I think he's a doubt. So
8 or 9 unavailable then.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah. So it's easier to name the team, and some of the players have been chomping at the bit trying to get a game. Looks like they might actually get a game now.
Yeah, we were surprised when it had got announced, I think Sunday evening, that Walsall had said they wanted it to go ahead, because for all the world we thought it was going to be, because I think it fell on an international weekend back in November as well, didn't it? That's why.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So yeah, we was very surprised.
I think part of the reason they've, I think there's probably 2 reasons why it's gone ahead. Gillingham hadn't got many free Tuesdays to slot it in, was one issue. While Walsall is still top of the league, if we don't play, it gives a chance for another team to sort of get in, and it puts more pressure on us. I think we'd rather get the games done and get them in the bag. And then the other one is with Connor Barrett. I think, if I've got it right, I think he's due to miss 2 games. So he'll miss Saturday and then miss the game against Wimbledon, but he'll be back for the game away to Doncaster, which is a big game for us. So I think if we'd have pushed the game back, he wouldn't have been available for that game. So I think getting him back for more of those really big key games, any game isn't big really at this stage of the season, but maybe that's part of it. But I think it's one of them, and particularly for the Walsall fans, getting to Gillingham on a Tuesday night is a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fair distance for a Tuesday, yeah, definitely. Even when you're top of the league, it means that your numbers are probably going to diminish somewhat as opposed to it being on a Saturday afternoon. I think the weather's meant to be nice Saturday as well. So
yeah, the weather's finally picking up. Any players missing for the Gills?
I don't think we've got any injury problems at the moment. Marcus Wiley's returned. He's gone back. He's got out on loan now. Ewan Williams we've not seen for a while, and Ethan Coleman, but they've been away for quite a while, so it'll probably be the same group. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was the same 18. He's said in recent games, John Coleman, that he wants to select, continuity with the team lineup and the bench and that type of thing. The only sort of changes recently have been on the bench, which have been surprising in some quarters. Bradley Dack's been left out completely. I know he's not had the season we'd hoped when he came back.
Well, Bradley Dack, I was just looking for him. Is he in? He's not injured?
No, he's not injured at the moment. He's just not being picked. So obviously we knew when we signed him it was going to take a while to get him up to speed, but I think it took longer than we'd hoped, and it hasn't worked. There's no point pretending it has, because he's not played enough football and not influenced enough games when he has played. So Jaden Clark is our top scorer. He's not getting a look in at the moment. He's not been in the last two squads. So yeah, I can't see it being, unless any sort of injuries have come out of Saturday or occurred during the week, I can't see it being any different. I'd imagine it'd be the same 18 after beating Bradford and picking up a point against Accrington Stanley.
Yeah, the confidence is there, isn't it?
It's getting there. It's getting there, yeah.
Masterson, happy with him?
Yeah, he was very good. He came back in slightly surprisingly against Bradford. I think it was because we sort of knew that maybe Bradford, because they didn't have Andy Cook, they'd have sort of midfielders running in to try and run in behind. One being our former player, Jules Lapsley. So I think Masterson's extra pace was a feature, and it meant we could play a little bit higher, and it worked really well. And he scored the winner as well, which was nice. So yeah, I mean, it'd have been silly to change it against Stanley at the weekend. And then we've got young Sam Gale, who's been superb since he got in the side. He's one of our own homegrown products, as is Joe Boda at the other end of the pitch. So yeah, at the moment it's essentially picking itself. I know there might be a doubt over Robbie McKenzie. He came off with a knock. He's been carrying a problem for a few weeks. So hopefully we can get him patched up again, because he's probably been our best player this season.
What's the score with Romeo Hutton? When you signed him, that was sort of like a massive signing. He was the best wing back in the country, well, in the lower leagues. And have you been disappointed with him, I guess?
Yeah, well, there was all this fanfare that when Stephen Clement signed him, and all these stats were rolled out that, you know, most crosses in Europe and most assists and this and that, but we played him as a right back, and I think he played as a wing back for Swindon. So number one, to sort of defend Hutton a little bit. I mean, I've not been impressed with him entirely in terms of form, or sometimes his attitude has looked questionable as well. But to defend him a little bit, we didn't play him in the correct role. I think he's better going forward than he is defending. So
as most wing backs are,
so if you play him as a wing back, you've got that extra security, because your outside centre half drops across and becomes an extra sort of fullback if you need be. Start of the season, he was all right when we were winning games, as was everyone. And people tend to, obviously you don't notice poor performances so much if people are playing well. It became very apparent during the poor run that he was woefully low in terms of confidence. But he's getting there, and I think we're playing a system that suits him again now. As like I say, we've gone back to that back three in recent weeks. Results have picked up. Him and Max Clark have been very good. Max Clark's been super impressive in the last few weeks and scored our equaliser at the weekend. He's had a couple of assists in the last half dozen games as well, so he'll be one to watch out for. But our trouble is, Simon, and you know it's well documented, we haven't scored enough goals this season. We haven't scored enough goals for probably 5 seasons.
Well, for Walsall, people are saying, oh, you've lost Nathan Lowe, that's what's gone wrong. But we're still scoring goals. We just started conceding where we weren't conceding before. Yeah,
obviously it's big numbers, isn't it, to lose halfway through a season, and that's the danger, isn't it, with loan players, is that if they're either not very good and you want to send them back, or they're super good and then they get called back and pushed higher up the league, which is
Never
frustrating.
Fall in love with a loan player.
That's I know we all still do it, though, don't we? Unfortunately, and it's
it's 3 years on the bounce. 3 years on the bounce. We've had a loan player that's done really well, and they've been pulled back.
That's it. I'll say that's the danger, isn't it? Nature of the beast. Unfortunately, it's a tough one. You almost want them to be all right in the first half of the season, so that you get to keep them for the second half.
In February,
that's it. Yeah, sort of as soon as 1st of February comes around, they start turning up. Yeah, but obviously it's going to have an impact. But you've got other good players, and I suppose question marks. It's up to the manager, isn't it, and the coaching team to find other ways to win football matches when this thing happens, because you're aware that it may happen if someone has a half season that Lowe had.
We've I think, because similar to John Coleman, keeping a settled side, that's worked for us for a long time. But I think now we've reached the point where a lot of the young players are just a bit worn out. Matt Sadler, the Walsall manager, is sort of saying he doesn't use tiredness as an excuse. But then against Bromley, he made some changes to freshen things up. So I think that's maybe an admission that people were sort of getting tired. And obviously this Saturday, poor old Liam Gordon hardly missed a game. He's off on international duty. He's going to play 2 games in a week in Ghana, and then he'll be back into Walsall stuff. And Barrett hadn't missed a game for Walsall. The only way he's getting a break is by getting suspended. So we're likely to see some different players. We had a chat on our fan chat. We talked about the possibility of him changing formation and going with 4 at the back. But that was laughed off, that Matt Sadler would ever change from 3 at the back. But we've got a guy on loan from Charlton, Nathan Asimwe. He's a right back come right wing back. He's probably going to play on Saturday. He'd only had 1 cameo, so it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts. Albert Adoma can also play in that position, so that's the option there. So I think that's one where we'll see. And then obviously with Gordon missing on the left wing back, that could very well be Taylor Allen, who's been playing left-sided centre half. A player that came in for us on Thursday, who's been starved of game time, is Evan Weir. Okay. Every time he's played, he's been my man of the match. But he's only played about 3 games. He's got his range of passing, like Taylor Allen's range of passing from that position is excellent, and his free kick deliveries and corner piece deliveries have been excellent. It's like 13 goals and total contributions, about 13, 14. But Evan Weir, his passing ability is even better. He's just not got the game time. So we've got both of them. So plenty of challenge for you on the left side. The right side, perhaps we'll have to see what Asimwe does. That's the one. And then up front, I'm likely to see Levi Amanchi. He's a player that we bought off Bromley. And when you think about sort of where Walsall want to be, you'd think signing a player from Bromley who couldn't get in the Bromley team doesn't sound like the perfect signing, does he? You'd think we'd be looking for players who sort of in League One. But he's a very interesting character, very difficult to predict. The Bromley fans were saying that on his day is unplayable. But a lot of the time, it's hard to wonder whether football is his game. So I think, but he scored a great goal. Scored a great goal against Bromley. Ball was knocked into the box. He got his back to goal. He just turned swiftly and rifled it in. So it was a really neat finish, and that'll do his confidence the world of good. So I think he'll probably start alongside Jamil Matt with Jay. It's not really been fancied by Matt Sadler, but he'll be on the bench. But if Ellis Harrison is still struggling with his hamstring, there's not many other options up front other than Adoma, who's used up front, of course. So, interesting one. Oh, dear.
It makes it difficult for us to predict.
Say again?
I said, I guess it makes it difficult for us to sort of scout then, doesn't it? Because there could be so many changes. Maybe that's why they've decided to play the game and they sort of catch us on the hop, because no one to know what you're going to line up as.
Well, we've got a player on loan from Blues, Alfie Chang. I think he played 17 games in the Championship season before last. And then last season missed pretty much the whole season with injury. I think he's only really just coming back to fitness, and he's not featured for us yet. He's had 1 substitute appearance, but he's not got on the field yet. It's a game where he will definitely be on the bench, and it's possible he might get on. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Yeah, it's a bit of a wild one. This one. We see what happens.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Paul Blue Nose, hello Simon and Matt. Hope you're doing well. I'm going for a 2-1 Sadler's win in this one. Well, I'm gonna go for a Walsall win because that's more through hope than expectation. We look on the BBC website for the table, and you see that like we've just got one win left on there. If we don't win Saturday, we'll have no wins in the last 6. That would be bad. So we need one of them, and to set us up for the triple header.
Yeah, that run afterwards.
It's
yeah,
going to determine our season, I think. Ah, dear. Matt, what do you reckon? You'll be happy with a point, probably, wouldn't you? Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, looking at recent runs, we're very inconsistent still, despite it improving. You're out of form, but I just can't get away from the fact that we draw a lot of games at the Priestfield. So I don't think a draw would be a disaster for either team.
So sounding like a 0-0 to me. We've had a lot of 0-0s at your place, haven't we?
Yeah, a lot of them 1-0s. They're never high scoring, I don't think. So I think the only one I can remember being high scoring in the last few years was when our former player Matt Jarvis tore us apart and you beat us 3-0 a few seasons ago. But yeah, I can't see it being high scoring this time. So 0-0, 1-0 probably.
Yeah, just the odd goal. Hopefully, Walsall have been ahead a couple of times and lost the lead, but against Bromley, came from behind twice. So plenty of character in there. Right then. Okay, we'll fingers crossed that Walsall can finish the job, because we can't lose it from here, I hope. But you never know. Join the pain.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just been all pain for Gills this season, so at least you've had both.
Yeah. I'm sure the joy will return next season.
Fingers crossed.
Perfect. Nice one, Matty.
Thanks mate.
Appreciate
you having me on.
Great stuff. Nice one. Cheers.